We're going to take a look at problem number 5 from the midterm review. So the first question is, how do we know if f of x equals 0 exists, which means is there a point where the graph or function would cross the x-axis, right? When y equals 0 or the function equals 0. That's what we're trying to analyze. And so we're going to use the idea of the intermediate value theorem. That's the idea, right? When I see these x values, I see the f of x, the function values are positive and then go to negative. And so I know for sure, because I only know it's a continuous everywhere except at x equals 7. So that's how I know from 2 to 4. At some point when it goes to positive to negative, imagine you have your graph, right? The values would be up on top and then they go down to the negative. They would have to cross the x-axis at some point between 2 and 4. Now notice the values stay negative and they go positive again. So you may be apt to think about, oh, you know what? How come it's not? Why am I not saying there's a value between 6 and 7? Well, it's because it's discontinuous. Because it's discontinuous there at 7 equals 5, that there may be a jump in there somewhere. It is discontinuous. We know it equals 7, so we don't know for sure if there is that it crosses it back. We can't guarantee it, again, because there's a discontinuity there. So if you were going to think of a graph, having a graph, there we go. If we had a graph here that we were going to draw, right there it is. We know between 2 and 4, we can make this a little bigger here. Oh, it's going to look bad. But between 2 and 4, it goes from positive to negative. At 6 and 7 over here, we end up looking at, we end up having this idea of, because of the discontinuity here, we don't know exactly if it jumps up right to it, but we know there's a discontinuity, a break somewhere. So that's where, and then it stays positive. So the only one that I know for sure is the 2 and the 4, between 2 and 4, is that I really know for sure that there's a value there. The next thing here, looking at the next question here, find the limit of f of x as x approaches positive 4. And so as we look at that, since f of x is continuous, right, at 4 it equals negative 3, then we know it has to be the same on both sides. And that's again based off of the definition of continuity, right? The left-hand side and the right-hand side will be equal because of that continuous. It's continuous. So that's how we know that the limit is negative 4, because the f of 4 equals negative 3. And then the next question, a student claimed that f of x equals 5, the limit as x approaches 7. And so we don't know, although it's continuous everywhere except 7, we do not know the behavior around that real close between 6 and 7 and 7 and 8. So we can't, we don't know if the limit exists. And well, I guess the other thing is, therefore, you know that the left hand and the right side are not equal because of that discontinuity. That's the big thing there. So that's the analysis for question number 5.